Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a ranking video and it's going to contain all of the eyeshadow palettes that I have tried so far in 2021. I have 17, but there are more than one in some cases and you'll see. I did this halfway through the year last year. It makes it easier for me at the end of the year when I go through all of my palettes to kind of look back at what I thought halfway through and compare it to what I feel in 6 months from now. So that's what we're going to be doing today. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jamie. I do beauty videos twice a week. I feel like ranking videos, hauls, makeup commentary, reviews, all things beauty. Then I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel before you go. And if you guys would like to see me rank my eyeshadow palettes that I tried in 2021, then keep on watching. Okay, so this might be a little controversial, this list, but it is what it is. So number 17, this is actually, I think, the first palette I tried in 2021, and it is my least favorite palette that I tried in 2021, and that is the So Fierce Prismatic Palette in Clap Back. How do I explain my feelings for this palette? It's not terrible. However, it's not great. Oh, this blue actually swatched out pretty decently. It's not that it's a bad palette. It's that the finishes are so weird and I just didn't feel like I was making a complete look with this. I don't know. It's all right. Like this silver shade barely swatches. I don't know if you can even see it. It just didn't get me excited. I mean, the blue swatched okay. But like all of the shadows have a little bit of sheen to them. So it's like a full satin palette. So there's like no mattes and there's no shimmers. They're all kind of just like satin, you know? There's a time and a place for this, I suppose. But it's just not my favorite. This doesn't get me excited. It's not terrible, but it's my least favorite. And that's what this is all about, right? I mean, most of the palettes that I'm gonna talk about are not bad palettes, actually. It's just a personal preference of like, what gets me excited? What do I reach for? What do I want to use? You know, like what fires me up? What inspires me? And that palette from Revlon ain't it. Going along those lines is number 16, which I'm gonna chunk all three of these palettes into, and that is the Garnet, Aquamarine, and the Diamond palette from the BH Birthstone collection. Now, I want to be fair to the Diamond. The Diamond still has the wrapper on it. Has the plastic still over it because I haven't even touched it yet. Will I? Probably. It is beautiful, but in a very holiday sort of way. Like I can see myself pulling this out at Christmas time. I'm making like a sassy holiday party look. These two, on the other hand, I really just don't like the color stories. I did not like the Garnet palette whatsoever. Like I don't think the Garnet palette has any redeeming qualities about it. Like there's nothing about it that I want to say anything nice. I just don't like it. And then this one I like, except for this brick red shade. Who decided that that shade should go in this palette? Like, no, it does not go in this color story at all. I despise. I love this blue. I think it's gorgeous. It's very shimmery and metallic and foiled and everything like that. All of the shadows by themselves, stand alone, are great. I mean, the formula in these palettes is great. The color stories are just what it is for me. It's just like a hard no. And just those three, because I have some more. Number 15 is from PROFUSION, and that is the Starlet palette. This is my very first PROFUSION palette, if you can believe it. The very first time I was trying these shadows. Now, there is absolutely nothing wrong with this palette. It's so pretty. How could you not be like just wanna put these on your eyelids? The pressed glitters are so pretty and fun, and you can do like smoky looks. You can do, you know, neutral looks. These are two of the glitters. Like, how gorgeous are those? I did a look with the camel green colors, and you know, I liked it. The reason why I'm ranking this lower on the list is because it's huge, really, is what it boils down to. I personally don't need a palette this size. If you give me too many decisions, I can't make a decision. You know what I mean? Like, I like a decent size palette. I don't mind a 20 shade palette, but like this is a bit much. I can't travel with this. It's harder to store palettes this size. I don't know. I just feel like there's so much going on that like I just can't decide. So like in my mind, if I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do a pink look today. I'm thinking in my mind of the palettes I have that are pink. If I'm like, I wanna do a neutral look, I'm thinking about the palettes that I have that are neutral. If I wanna do a camel green look, I'm thinking about those palettes. What I'm not thinking about is a palette with all of those things in it. But if this was the only palette in my collection, okay, it's a good palette, you know? But for me, I have so many eyeshadow palettes. Just a palette this big, it's just not my favorite. I should just get a smaller one. But it is a pretty palette. I do like it. So number 14 on the list, this is a small palette. This is the Violet Voss 6-color eyeshadow palette, and I forgot what it's called, like Coral something or other, like Coral Crush or something. It doesn't list the name of the palette on the palette, which irritates me. This color story is stunning. Oh my God, it's so pretty. I love it. What is wrong with it? Nothing. I've made some really pretty looks with it. Great quality. I don't know why it's number 14. I mean, I just don't know why. There's other things I reach for more than this. That's all I really can say. And I did get this in the winter, and this is not a winter palette, so I pulled it out and done a few looks more recently with it, because it is pretty. Like if I was thinking, oh, I want to do like something with a pop of coral, this is what would come to my mind. And it's small, it's compact. This would be a good palette to travel with. I like it. Okay, number 13 and number 12, interchangeable. Either one can go in either slot, really. So I have the Revolution Forever Flawless Affinity palette, and that is this one, and this is the pink tones. Again, if I was like, I want to do a pink look, this palette would definitely pop in my mind because this is a pink themed palette. Stunning, gorgeous, love the formula. People talk smack about Makeup Revolution. I don't care what anyone says. The quality on these Forever Flawless palettes is so good. Like, these were the first eyeshadow palettes I've ever tried from this brand, and after hearing so many people talk shit about them, I was so confused. I was like, what do you, these are great. I don't know what you people are talking about. And then this one is the Chilled palette. These shadows are made with cannabis sativa oil, CBD eyeshadows. And this palette, look at this color story. I cannot deal. And if I wanted to do a green look, this is the palette I would choose. I did a look on my channel with this palette and I loved it. I loved how it turned out. I loved these shadows. So good, so nice, so great. I can't pick which one I like better, but like the packaging on this, oh, so good. The packaging on this one is, I mean, the pot leaves are like whatever, but I do like that these are metal cases. Great for traveling, so they'll be nice and protected. So, you know, 13 and 12. Either one can go in either spot, really. I don't have a preference. Okay, so number 11. This palette is from BH Cosmetics. This is the BFF Alondra Elsie palette. Loved this one. Loved it. Very interesting color story. There's a lot of kind of mishmashy going on in here. You've got your neutrals, you've got lots of pops of blue, and you've got a couple of warmer shades here. So you've got warmer on the bottom, cooler on the top. You've got a couple of neutral like browns and whatnot. I loved it. I did a couple of looks with this palette and I loved the looks, and it's a fun palette. It's got a nice big mirror inside, which is always fun and great for travel. I don't have anything bad to say about this palette. It actually was very well done. I like the packaging. I like how it's gold. It's a good palette. This is a very lame ranking video. I have nothing bad to say about anything. Well, is that true? Yeah. I mean, I said my piece about what I think is bad or I didn't like. Okay, so number 9 is Lost in Los Angeles, also from BH Cosmetics. The reason I put this at number 9 is because it is a color story that is only going to get used on occasion. It's not something I'm going to use all of the time. But the looks that I have done with this, I've loved. I did a one color eye look with this shade here. loved it. I did another look and I loved it with this palette. So I haven't used every single shade, but I've used enough shades to know that, like, if you want a pastel palette, this is the one. The quality is amazing. So good. Number 8, I have the OFRA Cosmetics Samantha March collaboration. I loved this. Again, if I'm going to do like a plummy look, this is the palette that I'm going to reach for. And I love the tones in here, especially, and this is the surprising shade for me, is the cherry shade. You know, it looks like a nice, you know, cranberry toned, kind of Merlot-y toned eyeshadow. But I did a look with this and I loved it. And I want to say I had it on in like a couple of TikToks and people were like, what is on your eyes? And I'm like, it's this. And what I also like about this palette is that she's got a bronzer, a highlight, and a blush in here. So this is a great all-in-one palette, really good for travel. Samantha is a friend of mine, so maybe I'm biased, I don't know, but I really like this palette a lot and I've created some really fun looks. The only thing I wished that it had was really nothing. I don't think there's anything, actually. I was going to say a shimmery shade, but no, I have this. So the Dream Chaser highlight is the shimmer in here. I don't know what I'm even talking about. And so that shade can be doubled as an inner corner highlight or a lid shade. I always like a shade like that in all my palettes. So when you look at the eyeshadows, they don't have that, but the highlighter does. There's really, this palette's really a great all-in-one palette because you even have like a nice transition shade with this bronzer. So yeah, I love it. So good. She did a great job. Number 7. Is this, am I right about that? No, I'm screwing up my numbers. BFF was 11, Lost in Los Angeles was 10, Samantha was 9, the OFRA palette, and this is number 8. Anyway, this is the Boudoir Noir palette from ColourPop. This was gifted to me by one of you guys. I don't know what it is about this color story that I just love so much, but like this is a palette that I just want to reach for. I am somebody who does enjoy pressed glitters in my palettes. I don't wear them often, but I do sometimes wear them and I like to amp my look up. So I do like that there's a pressed glitter. I know some people disagree with that and that's fine, to each his own, but I like it. And I just love that there's like lots of different finishes in here. You have like this shade here, which is kind of like the Tati Beauty sequin type of shadow where it's matte, but it's got like flecks of glitter in it. And then you've got ones that are kind of like Super Shocks. I don't know if they're actually Super Shocks, but they're kind of like that texture. And I just muted, cocky, neutrally color story is, it's just me. I love it. And then along those same lines-ish is the Taupe palette. So this is number 7. And this is a cool toned palette. And this is the reason I never picked up the NATASHA Denona Glam palette, because once I got this, I was like, do I really need that palette? I mean, this is like cool tone heaven. Like, love this palette. Really good. And it scratched the itch for cool tones. I don't wear them all the time, but this is it. I felt like I didn't need the Glam palette after having this because I'm like, this gives me, like, look at this shade. Oh, so pretty. And they're creamy. And I mean, ColourPop shadows are really good. And it's affordable. It's much more affordable than NATASHA Denona. So I really like that one. Speaking of NATASHA Denona, number 6 on my list is the Zendo palette. This palette would have been higher on the list had it had a shimmery champagne in it, but it doesn't, and I like it. I think it gives me, you know, the warm tones, it gives me the cool tones. It's fun, it's summery. I just wish it had that champagne shimmery metallic-y shade, you know? I just need that in my life. But other than that, like, I really like this. It's good quality, and yeah. It's a good palette. Number 5 really surprised me. I did not expect this palette to be this level of quality. And that is the BH Cosmetics Give Back Step Up palette. This was a palette that was made 100% for charity. Step Up is a women's charitable organization that helps women. And they made it so all of the proceeds to this go to the charity, not a portion, which I thought was great. And they worked really hard to put this together. And when I saw it, I was like, okay, you know, it's nice. This color story is gorgeous. But I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, they're not going to make any money off this. So, I mean, how good can it be? Oh man, this palette, I must show you because the quality on these, the pigment, it's stupid. It's stupid. This is a high-end quality palette. Like, they killed it. The shades in the pan are the shades in the swatch. And that's not, I mean, these are purples. They've got a neon quality to them and they just pop. And I've done looks and I just love it. I love this palette so much. They did an amazing job on this. So if you're into makeup for a cause and like you want to, you know, contribute to a woman's organization, uplifting women and whatnot, you will not be disappointed by this palette. This palette is so good. Maybe one of the best they've ever done, really. It will stain though. It will stain. The looks you're gonna get are gonna be so vibrant and beautiful and amazing. Number 4 is from Catrice and it is this Pro Slim Neon Earth palette. I don't know why it's called Neon Earth. There's nothing neon about it, but this palette is very reminiscent of the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded palette. It gives me a very similar vibe, very similar looks. I really, really like this a lot. It also has a little bit of that Anastasia Beverly Hills soft glam vibes, but this palette is, I want to say $13. And the pigment on this one is also just really, really beautiful for the price point. I love these shimmers. I'm gonna try to swatch on my other hand because the other hand is like soaking wet now. Yeah, like I love the shimmers. I think I broke the mirror, or it actually got broken in when they sent me the PR package. But love this. This is like my kind of everyday, I'm reaching for this over and over and over again palette. And that's why it's higher up on the list. Not necessarily because the eyeshadow quality is better than any of the others, but more so that this is an everyday palette for me. Something I'm going to reach for all of the time. So, you know, if I wasn't on YouTube and I didn't do crazy, you know, outside the box makeup or whatever, this is a palette I would definitely have in my collection because it is something I'm going to use a lot. Okay, so number 3, this is BH redeeming themselves. Number 3 is the Emerald palette from the Birthstone collection. This is the May palette, and I did review this in a Trying New Makeup. I'm obsessed. I have a thing for cocky greens. I don't know why. Cocky, olive, whatever you want to call it. Gorgeous. This color story makes sense to me. This color story works. This palette, I want to put all over my eyes. Like, I love it. And the quality, again, all of them are good. Like, all of the quality is good. And then, you know, following up with that is my number 2 palette. And honestly, like, you could put 3 and 2 interchangeable because I love them both. This is the Pearl palette. This is June. This one looks boring. I know. I understand. But it's not. I have a whole video dedicated trying this. I cannot tell you how much I love it. It's so pretty. The pearl shade is super pearl, and the glitter shade is absolutely out of this world. It is a pink with a purpley green shift to it. I cannot deal. And then all the rest of the shades are just pigmented and beautiful, and this is, again, something that I would reach for over and over again because I like neutrals. I like color too. Like, I really like pinks, I like mauves, I like purples, I like greens. I'm particular about my colors. Like, I'm not so into blues, and even teal once in a while I'll play with. But like over and over and over again, I will reach for, you know, cranberry tones, pink tones, purple, and neutral. Those are like my go-tos. Okay, so speaking of neutral, my number 1 palette. Now, this is a shock. It was a shock to even me as I was ranking these. Because I'm like, what's the palette that I use the most of all these? On days when I'm just hanging out by myself, or I'm like, I'm gonna run out, or I wanna look pretty, I wanna do a quick makeup look, what is the palette that I'm reaching for? It's not even just the palette that I'm reaching for of the 2021 palettes. It's the palette I'm reaching for over everything. I didn't see it coming. But it is this palette from Jason Wu. And that is the Desert Rose. What's it called? Yeah, the Desert Rose palette. I know. I can't either. Like, it's so basic. Right? I mean, you look at it and there's nothing super deep in there. So, like, there's nothing super smoky. But I don't know how to explain to you how gorgeous this palette is. The shimmers are shimmery, the mattes are buttery, and the tones are like these terracotta, warm, deserty, like deliciousness. I like the desert on my eyes. I don't like to live there. But I just love this. 15 bucks, really good quality. The shimmers are gorgeous. I really, really like this palette so much. I don't know why I did not expect to love it as much as I do. Like, I was in Target one day and I was like, let me try this, you know, for work purposes, just to see if this brand is any good. Like, Jason Wu is doing a makeup line? Okay. It just seemed so out of left field and so random, you know? And this is the only product that I've tried from the brand, although I believe I'm getting some PR from them now because they reached out and said they were gonna send me some stuff, which I'm excited because after trying this and loving it so much and reaching for it day in and day out, like I constantly, like I'll open up my drawer and I'm like, what do I feel like today? Oh, Jason Wu. I know it's going to be pretty and it's soft. And again, because I'm just been really into like hot girl summer, freckles, bronzy, glowy skin. Like, and this just is, it just works with that color story. You know, it just is. You're not going to have like a bad eyeshadow day with this palette. So I just love it so much. And again, I didn't see it coming. I really didn't. I did not think that was going to be number one. I don't know what I thought was going to be number one. It wasn't that. But once I had all of the palettes out from the year and I was looking at them all, I was like, wow, what do you know? So that is it for my ranking eyeshadow palettes of 2021. Let me know what you guys think about any of these palettes. What ones have you tried? What are your thoughts about them? Do you agree with my rankings? Do you think any that I ranked lower should have been higher? Or some that I ranked higher should have been lower? Let's discuss in the comments. And yeah, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. You have no idea how much that helps my channel. So yeah, make sure you do that. And you can follow me on social. My handle is @GlamLatte. And don't forget the Glam Latte Beauty Podcast is everywhere you listen to podcasts. All those details are in the description box down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.